We have a treat for you, fans of the Lim clan. We do have Noel on stream here. He is going to be playing Blue Purple Luffy into Hong's, one of Noel's other decks, Bonney actually. So he claims this matchup is going to be very, very favored in the Blue Purple Luffy's direction. So let's see if that is going to be the case or not. So right off the bat, we do have Noel going first. He did win the dice roll here and goes for a 6k swing into Hong's leader. And then we are going to drop that Zorojuro on tree. So far so good, looking like a very favorable curve.
Right, so Bonney didn't have any searches for his turn 2 Dawn. I mean 2 Dawn turn, right? So he's just going to be playing the, okay. Speaking of answer, he's going to actually be swinging over the Zorojuro immediately thanks to that Izo, right? Which allows him to rest 4 costs and below, which Zorojuro happens to be. And there's no ramp for this, right? But he does top deck into a Bonclay, right? So a 2k counter has been used to counter that Zorojuro. In the long term, might not be so good because the ramp still continues. And I mean, it could be a double ramp. Now there's 2 Dawn standing, and I know Noel has always been preaching Thunder Bagua.
That's right. And of course, Thunder Bagua not active at the moment because Noel is at 3 life. However, Hong is going to go for this 6k swing into Noel's face right now. And we will see he does drop another Bonclay to counter out of it. And then now we have the 5 cost Smoker coming in and then also setting 1 Dawn active. So Bonney's leader effect is still usable. Now we're back to Noel's turn. It is his 8th Dawn turn this turn. And will we see that 8 cost Katakuri drop and make Hong's life extremely difficult? I do see the 9 cost Lin and the 8 cost Katakuri has been put to the front of his hand. We can swing with the Bonclay for a 7k swing, copying that 5 cost Smoker, and then after that having his leader rested instead to get a little bit of extra value on this swing. But we will see what he ends up doing here.
So I would assume the Bonclay will be swinging first. No, actually he's just going to be playing the Katakuri and just passing turn straight up.
Yes, no swing here, keeping the Bonclay active as well and not allowing Hong to get value off of his leader effect.
That's very interesting, but this also means that Hong is not able to just do a simple poke at the Bonclay, which usually what people will do is just swing for a 7k. The Bonney will take it, and then now we do see the Mihawk coming down for a 4 Dawn turn. Guy just speeding it up because the card is printed wrongly. It should just be a 4 Dawn. Right? And we do see 1 Dawn attached to the Smoker, going for 8k swing here to make sure that the Katakuri still drop 1 card here. And I believe if he guts it, there's not much value for the Bonney to actually chase it because he has to attach the other 3 Dawn here. Let's actually play Tashigi instead, and Smoker allows him to stand 1 Dawn active. Pretty decent turn, I would say, right? But the Bonclay is still standing and can copy now the Mihawk power. Does take the Sanji here, so I would imagine this is going to be in favor for Noel.
Yes, there is an 8 cost Katakuri on the top of his deck too, so that Sanji is going to play a very, very significant second 8 kata here.
And with double katas, Bonney just can't really rest them well enough, right? Because Katakuri at the end of the turn to stand up to 2 big bomb pirates, and it's a blocker and it's an 8k attacker, and I don't know what else can you ask for. This card is nuts, right? If you add a 1k counter, I think it's just banned material.
For sure, and Noel is still in a very, very good position. He does have all 3 life available and he's already on 10 Dawn.
Man is ramping up, right? And now, I mean, like what you mentioned, he's at 10 Dawn, 3 life, max life he can have. I mean, of course, if he does play the mum, he can actually do something. But he does play down a Tashigi from Hong, right? So he's actually able to protect his Smoker as well as the other cards. So he's going to actually rest the Bonclay here, and that's actually block it with the Mihawk. So it's going to be a very clean block here. And then Katakuri will actually be swinging at, I believe, the
5 cost Smoker here. So 2k counter needed from Hong, who drops the 2k counter carrot. End of turn, restand 1 Dawn. Now goes for that Sanji into Katakuri play, stands his rested Katakuri, and then passes it back over to Hong. Hong here having a 5 cost, having a 7 cost, having an 8 cost attacker on his board. We will see what ends up being the next few plays. He is already at 10. We will see what he does have in his deck. I do see 8 cost Kid, I do see 10 cost Doflamingo available for Hong. So both of these very, very solid options. He goes for the 7k banish swing with the Smoker, and we are probably just going to see a 2k counter for this. And instead, no, it's just the gear second. We are going to play around the Hody Jones in case of that big resting effect on those Dawn and the Katakuri blockers. We just want to get rid of all these extra event cards in our hand. And like we said, Noel is an expert in Bonney. He knows this deck inside and out. He says this matchup is Giga favored. We will see if that does end up being the case. So he is just thinking now, Hong deciding whether to swing with this 8-cost Mihawk does go in for face. Noel does take a hit, and it is that Thunder Bagua in his hand now.
Right, so Thunder Bagua is definitely a bit awkward here, right? Thunder Bagua feels more like an early game ram and, you know, a deterrence. In the late game, having 2 Dawn standing is kind of difficult because you want to have back-to-back 9-drop cost bodies. And we do see 4 Dawn Mihawk once again. And he's going to swing 6k at the leader here. And he's calculating, maybe you can afford for a free block, which I believe he should be able to because he did swing with the 8k and 7k smoker already. So the Katakuri will absorb the hit here with the remaining Dons. He's actually going to go for a Bonney.
5-cost Bonney. So does get to draw 2, discard 1, and then set 1 Dawn active afterwards. So this is going to be very, very powerful for the side of Hong. Again, this is a card we've seen before. We've seen Jeremy play it earlier. He is dropping a Uruj off of that effect of the discard, and then now will have that 1 Dawn open at the end of his turn and has a 8k and a 6k blocker available. However, we're going back to Noel. It is his turn again. We do see another 9-cost Sanji on the top here. However, no good targets to play off of it. There is a Gravity Blade, I believe, on the top of his deck, which he can use to get rid of this 3-cost Tashigi, but nothing else this turn. So we will have to see what the options available to Noel are. I do see the Thunder Bagua as mentioned, and I believe that is 9-cost Linlin in his hand, so he can actually answer the Tashigi this turn and maybe use that Gravity Blade he sees on the top of his deck on the 5-cost Smoker and the 5-cost Bonney the following turn instead. So we will see what ends up being the call here. So first off, of course, Noel still has to choose a Straw Hat type card to grab from this leader effect, and is hovering the Sanji, does go for the Sanji here. And then we'll see what he ends up doing with the rest of the cards. And first up is going to be the Gum Gum Giant. So
very balanced card.
That's right.
For it, right. So the Sanji will of course start swinging here into the Smoker. It's going to be requiring a 3k counter. Does use the Bonney leader skill immediately to rest the Katakuri. Very immediate and very impactful because 8k, you have nullified an 8k attack. But of course Katakuri being a very giga chat, he can end of turn restand and actually becomes a blocker effectively next turn as well. He does actually let the Smoker go immediately because he doesn't want to risk the Mihawk here. Very interesting because Smoker does actually have a lot of value towards it as well, but it does choose to let it go and remain the Mihawk. And you do see the Linlin coming down, most likely targeting the Tashigi, and he's going to discard 1. Most likely the Thunder Bagua. Yes, he's going to discard the Thunder Bagua. Actually going to choose
he chooses the Bonney, letting the Tashigi get rested, and he's going to swing 6 into the Tashigi.
Okay,
so here we are forcing a lot of guard out of Hong. So we're going to see 6 and then 8 into this Tashigi. He lets it go.
But if you look at it another way, the Hong just denied his own heal.
That's true. In one way, Noel doing this actually means that Hong doesn't get to heal a life, so he stays at 3. He doesn't get that go up to a 4 life leader again. And at the same time, we still get rid of the Tashigi because it does get rested by using its effect, and we are able to punch into it twice. And now, next turn, if we want to, we can remove some of these characters on board with events.
Do you think that play was correct, with the Tashigi being rested like that?
Man, I think on the side of Hong, I feel like it's correct still to protect that 5-cost Bonney. You still want to protect your board, but similarly on the side of Noel, it's a correct play to try and remove the Tashigi in this way. I think maybe it's a little bit less efficient, but if you were to, for example, right, let's say Hong countered to protect the Tashigi, that's a win. Ooh, there it is, the Gravity Blade set on the top of the life by the 9-cost Linlin, and immediately Hong is punished for letting that Tashigi go. And this is what Noel has been planning from the start of his turn, setting up that Gravity Blade trigger on the top of his life, putting that in the life so that he can get rid of this Bonney, and in order to make sure that happens, he has to get rid of the Tashigi. And he doesn't mind even if Hong says, okay, never mind, I will block with the Bonney to protect my Tashigi, because then the Bonney is still gone.
So effectively, Noel just eliminated 2 cards, alright, with that one play. Very interesting play, I would say a very heads-up play, because with the UP leader effect, you actually look at top 5, right? You get to choose one to draw one and whatnot, but you also arrange the cards. That's why hence he's able to heal that gravity blade on top of the life, and that allows him to have this kind of significant play, and the board is suddenly not exactly in Hong's favor, because look at the two Mihawks, they are rested.
And look at this now, we have the Cavendish and the Tashigi come down, and Hong is punished for not sequencing that a little bit better. He could have played that Tashigi before doing anything swinging into life, but no, Noel has foreseen that is what Hong was going to do, and he is rewarded for it very, very handsomely with the removal of that 5-cost Bonney for free, basically.
Really, the Katakuri difference, man. Katakuri diff. Look at Mihawk and look at Katakuri. Even though we look at Mihawk being a 4-cost card, but Katakuri being able to restand every time it swings and basically immune to your whole Bonney effect. Maybe that's why Noel migrated. Right?
Yeah.
Migrated to being a UP Luffy player instead of a Bonney.
That's true. I mean, like you said, it's a 10-90 matchup, right? We will see very shortly if that's really the case. He is going to grab another Gum Gum Giant, and I did see another 9-cost Lin on the top of his deck, so that is going to, again, maybe answer that 5-cost Cavendish, force the Tashigi rested, and again, repeat of last turn, we will see that going down. But no, instead, we are just going for a 6k swing into face here. We are going to rest the 9-cost Sanji. Doesn't really matter here at the end of the day, because they are still 9k attackers
the other
either
big
way.
Pirates will be standing at the end of the turn.
That's right. 8-cost Katakuri does swing into face again. We are going to apply even more pressure still. There's going to be another 9k swing from a 9-cost Lin here. And no blockers on the side of Hong. He placed the 2k counter down on the board in order to protect his board from any effects. But Noel is saying, no, you are protecting your face. Instead, this turn, he is going to have one more attack with the 8-cost Katakuri. And if his deck runs any other rush cards, for example, he can force even more counter out. And if not, that 8-cost Katakuri is going straight into that 8-cost Mihawk and causing even more damage.
What do you think Hong was doing, or rather thinking, when he put down the Tashigi?
I think Hong is thinking, I'm going to protect my board from 9 mum. There's no way Noel is going to punch me in the face. And that is exactly what Noel, I think, wanted him to think. And that's why everything is turning sideways. He's going to punch the daylights out of Hong right now. We are forcing 5k counter from him to... And we're going to see, is it going to be 3 cards only for that 5k, 2-2-1? Or are we going to see 2-1-1-1? And if it is 2-1-1-1, you best believe that Katakuri is turning sideways into board. And no, here we do see 0-cost event dropping a 10-cost Doflamingo as well as a 2k counter. And now that 9-cost Lin is going to drop. We are going to discard a Thunder Bagua, add one more card to life, and we are going to set Cavendish to the bottom of his life. And now Hong has to decide, am I going to do the same thing? Am I going to let my Tashigi get rested and then not heal alive? Or am I going to heal? And no, we rest the Tashigi, Katakuri slats into it, and then now stands all the Big Mom Pirates on his board and gets one more Dawn back at the end of the turn.
You know what? I think Hong is in a very bad position. Right? The mom is touching Tashigi a lot, right? I mean, no, not directly, but you get what I mean. And this really caused a very frustrated situation for Hong, right? I mean, yes, he does save the Cavendish. Yes, he did save the Bonney previous turn. But he's denying his own heal as well. And he's at 1 life now. The Mihawk, while it being a good card, okay, Holy Jones.
There we go. We are resting the Katakuri as well as 1 Dawn. However, Bonney only has 5 attacks available. Yes, he will get 2 active Dawn back from the Cavendish. However, that still means we're only going to see 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. In Singapore, these are lucky numbers, but are they going to be Hong's lucky numbers today? One of these swings has to go in. Only 3k guard needed from the side of Noel. However, will Hong be able to finish the game?
He does swing for 6k first and immediately guarded by Noel, and I think this is...
That's it. Like, you aren't able to finish the game from here, so he is going to swing 8 with everything he has. So the Hodi turns sideways, the Mihawk turns sideways, 5 Dawn left available for the side of Hong. What else is he going to be able to do? He used Hodi Jones to take that last life, and now what's going to happen? And you look at Noel's hand, it's 2 Usohachi. He is 4k counter already. He's in such a safe position. He doesn't care that he has no Gum Gum Giant. You only have 2 attacks, and I have the most broken 8-cost blocker in the game on my board, still active.
Noel is just kind of encouraging him to hit, right? Because there was no hesitation in the first 3 swings. Then suddenly, the hesitation start coming in. Because I think Noel probably hit the blocker pretty well, right? The blocker is there, like what you mentioned. And the 4k counter in his hand, even though he just ate 2 blanks in his hand, it was still not enough. And the Usohachi just coming down for the 2k counter, blocking off that Bonney. We only have
4 Dawn left, and he's hovering Uruj, maybe playing that down. But I don't think Uruj is going to save you. No, instead it's going to be a Roshinante and a Beige having 1 Dawn open left. He has 3 blockers on his board now. However, is that going to be enough to withstand the onslaught of the Big Mom Pirates and Sanji? Almost married into the Big Mom Pirates, I guess. And also, of course, Gear 4th Snake Man. We will see Noel still playing the game out, has top 5 available from his leader effect, will grab a Gum Gum Giant. We will see what else ends up being taken. He will set everything to the bottom, draws for turn, and will stand everything right now. So look at the attacks with me. Everyone, 9. -1, 9 o'clock. We do block with Beige. 9. Another block with the Roshinante. 1 more Dawn on Katakuri. 9. Another block with the Mihawk, and one more time, 9! And no guard left for Hawk. It is Noel taking the game. And the other 9 you will hear from me is 90-10 matchup UP Luffy into Bonney. He claimed it. I guess he proved it. We will find out if there's going to be any further proving of it in the top 4 game.
Noel just showing exemplary gameplay, honestly, with that whole Tashigi and Tashigi interaction, right? Tashigi, yes, it's a good card. It helps to save your characters. It helps to rest itself. But it got abused, right? It got arrested and it got touched. And into that whole gravity blade trigger, well planned, it was a great bait that Hong took it. Very unfortunate for him, to be very honest. I think he tried. And definitely with that whole Katakuri and Big Mom's, like what you mentioned, Big Mom family. Sanji even almost married into Pudding. I believe that's the law, right?
And okay, let's be real, right? Even if, let's say Hong played around that Gravity Blade trigger, let's say he put the Tashigi down first, then what? Then the Tashigi comes in, and then it's rested again. And then next turn, it does nothing. And instead, the Gravity Blade goes to hand. So no problem, right?
Yeah.
So either way, Noel is in a good position there. He is always going to be in the lead as long as he has these 2 8-cost categories turning sideways and always getting value for him every turn. And that, I think, is what the Bonney will struggle with. Yes, people can say, oh, you know, you can just Holy Jones, the Katakuri and the Dawn. But how? You know? A player like Noel, someone who understands Blue Purple Luffy and knows how to play the deck, knows the matchup, is not going to just let you rest his Dawn, not going to just let you rest his Katakuri. And if he does let you do that, you best believe it's going to be bait.
I mean, let's be honest, right? Definitely Noel had anticipation for the Holy Jones. He kept his life at a healthy 3 almost throughout the entire game until Holy Jones came down to push for 2 damage. Because if you are probably not aware of Holy Jones' existence, you will be confident, right, in front of your Katakuris, in front of your Gangan Giants. You'll be like, yeah, come hit me. But when the Holy Jones come down, you're gonna start panicking. But however, Noel definitely did a very good play there, making sure his life was never dropped, right? So all this adds up. All these are matchup knowledge. All these are a showcase, evidence of his understanding of what Bonney can do, and still, that Tashigi interaction is still in my head.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, of course, everyone knows, like, if you remove something, Tashigi will turn sideways, and then you hit the Tashigi so that next time you can remove things, right? I think, of course, you are going to take advantage of that no matter what. You are going to try and hit into that sideways Tashigi so that, I mean, next time you can use your effects, get rid of things on the board. But I think the real thing that is really impressive about Noel's play there is understanding exactly when to turn things sideways into face and when to turn things sideways into board. And
right.
Like, of course, when there's only 2 8-cost Mihawks on the board, there's no reason to turn things sideways into the Mihawks. Yes, sure, 9 into 8, you minus 2k. But why not
2K.
I just go 9 into 5 and you minus 3 life? And that put him on that 2-turn lethal, put him on that timer, set him in a position where he had to do such a suboptimal play, Holy Jones into 2 blockers, and then pass the turn there and get ready for the 9. You know? I don't want to sound like an angry German, but this is going to be the UP Luffy gameplay and the gameplay loop. And if you're not able to withstand that, he does have the 8-cost kit in hand, but doesn't have the opportunity to play it down, doesn't have the chance to wall up and be defensive, because every turn, Noel is reducing your hand size, but he is drawing 2 cards. How are you going to beat that?
I mean, Bonney has the ability to rest the card, right? He can deter some aggression, but honestly, that game also showcased to me Mihawk is not the superior guard, not the superior 8K. I mean, yes, 8K blockers are very strong. Usually they are the one that deters you. I mean, deters opponent from swinging lethal into you. But however, sometimes you are just encouraged to swing with those blockers. Katakuri can swing and can block. Right, so the Mihawk was forced into a situation whereby he had to start swinging, and one turn whereby the both Mihawk were actually swung, that opened the leg for Bonney. I mean, you get what I mean, right? So
That's right.
the defense was definitely off. That's where we see the 8k pressure coming in, and then the little turn there was all the 9ks. There was no need for Noel to actually put down anything more. It was just a matter of just dedicating dawns. He actually didn't even dedicate dawn for the first 3 swings. It was just 999. Katakuri had 9. His leader was ready to receive that 9 dawns commitment and then going for that game. So there was really not a chance for the Bonney there. And it really just shows the quality of the cards that both decks have, right? I mean, definitely very strong for the Mihawk, very strong for the Katakuri. But with that, we conclude the top 4 game.
Top 8.
Top 8 games, so sorry. And we're going to move on to top 4 game really soon after.